What's up,
How's it going?
son? How you doing?
Well, we survived Waverly Hills.
Yup. It was fun. All right, we'll get stuff kind of situated here. All right, let's kick it off.
She finds a log and she sits down on it and she starts crying. And so she decided to climb up this aspen tree. Went out in this branch, kind of had her legs hanging over, and just maybe 15 feet high. And then she decides to start yelling for help. So she says, "Grandma, Grandpa, I'm over here. Please help me. I'm lost." She realizes that she might be giving herself away if there's a mountain lion or a bear. And so she got quiet. She's like, "Oh, that's a bad idea. This is a really bad idea." She can see the sun's getting lower. The shadows are getting longer in this late afternoon. Right then, she hears something coming through the forest, heading right for her. And then into the clearing walks this brown hairy animal, walked just under the tree that she was in. But it had these big wide shoulders, really muscular, this small head, and she could see these arms on it. And it reaches down and there's some rocks, and it grabs two pretty good sized rocks. One in each hand, these big black massive hands, and it starts banging them together. Clack, 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 really loud. It almost had a rhythm to it. Banging them together. Did this for about 15, 16 seconds, and then it would stop. She could see its head move around like it's listening. And then it did it again, banging these rocks together. And she thought, oh my gosh, it's calling in its friends because it knows I'm here. So she was just terrified. This creature continued banging these rocks together, and then it would pause and listen and continue to do that. Katie's up in this tree, just terrified for her life. And she hears off in the distance some sound, like something else is now coming through the forest towards her. She can hear the branches breaking and something else coming towards them. The scene continues, pounding the rocks. She's up there and she's listening again, and then she can hear some like yelling, like voices, almost human-like voices. Continues banging the rocks, she can hear that, and then now she can clearly hear it's her grandpa with her two cousins, and they're yelling her name, they're yelling for her. She wants to yell back and yell out, "Help, I'm over here," but she's too afraid because this bear Sasquatch is right there. And then another moment later, this thing drops the rocks, gets up, turns, and looks straight at her and walks towards her, looks up into the tree at her. She can see its face. It's got this grayish-brown leathery face with hair hanging around, not fur, but hair. And she can see its eyes. She remembered its eyes. Had these brown eyes with no whites in them, just dark brown eyes glossed over, but she said they looked like intelligent eyes. She felt fear, but she felt this thing would not hurt her. Then this large bear, Bigfoot Sasquatch, turned and quietly walked into the forest in the opposite direction from the grandpa and the cousins. And she said she could just see its muscles kind of rippling and moving, and it just kind of glided silently away. Moments later,
Pretty crazy thing about that, Bill.
It sounded like the Sasquatch was trying to help her be found by her grandpa and her uncle.
Well, look, I know we talk about squash and a bunch of different things and stuff like that, but I was thinking too, what if, wouldn't it be not so hard to believe that maybe like you don't really see the whole, Bigfoot and stuff like that now? Would it back in the day when it was really big, talks were coming out about it, that there was that ape. It was what was it called? Gigantopithecus or something?
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
looks
gigantic.
exactly what all people explain Bigfoots look like.
And then they had the whole thing that happened out in I think it's Washington or Oregon, the Ape Canyon. That's where Expedition Bigfoot went. So they do call it like a North American ape. So they think it's kind of like it's a primate, is what they believe. There's other people think it's like a feral human or some other kind of lost evolutionary link between humans and Neanderthals and apes.
Right.
Because they got that one called Sue that's like half upright and half bent over. It looks like a half monkey, half man kind of thing.
I would just assume we would have, by now we would have found some definite proof of one. Remains something.
Well, they think they may bury the remains, and a lot of times, if like, how often do you find an entire deer skeleton in the woods? I mean, the animals carry all the bones off and stuff, and it's gone pretty quick. But I would think a skull as big as a ape skull would be around for a while, unless they bury their dead. And if we don't know where they buried them, we're not going to find them. But if it's in a cave, it would be preserved. I think that'd be our best case to find preserved remains of bones if it would be in a cave somewhere. Because we still actually find Native American bones in some of the caves in Kentucky even to this day.
All right, we'll check this one out.
Hey guys, check out this amazing video of a UFO flying over Brazil in 2024 of July 27th. Check it out, guys. Amazing video taken in two different parts of Brazil. Basically, two different people recording two different videos of the same ship from two different places. I believe this is one of the best videos ever recorded on social media. The quality of the video is absolutely amazing and crystal clear. It kind of reminds me of the Turkey UFO sighting, which people claim was one of the clearest UFO sightings ever. Whatever this is, it's simply amazing, and it happens to be some type of flying saucer or diamond-shaped UFO. I've seen hundreds of videos throughout the internet, but I have to say this is one of the best videos so far for 2024. What do you guys think? Don't forget to share, repost, and also comment, guys. I want to know what you guys think. Thanks for watching my video.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, I can't get with that one, Phil. Because that looked exactly like Flight of the Navigator. From the movie, dude, that ship looked exactly like it.
It looked a little bit like a drone with the skin on it.
Yeah, it had that weird oyster pearl shape from Flight of the Navigator, so I'm not going to be with that video.
And it was too clear. It can't be real unless it's blurry.
Yeah. All righty.
What can the government do to me once I'm in my grave? 6 months later, she died. It's 1955 at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And Mrs. G, who worked in the Forward Materials Division, was given an incredible task of cataloging 1,000 components that came in from the interior of a UFO crash retrieval. Now, the way they had this thing set up is when these pieces of debris came into the base, there was an assembly line. One station had a gentleman with a photographic camera, and he was taking still pictures of the debris. Then it moved on to the next station where there was a gentleman who was bagging and tagging these components. It finally moved over to Mrs. G, and she cataloged, believe it or not, 1,000 components that came in from a crash retrieval. We've heard all this talk about senators and congressmen not having the physical evidence. Well, Mrs. G actually held this physical evidence. Not only that, a few minutes into her job, she saw a mobile device go right by her typewriter workstation, and there were 2 ET bodies about 3.5 to 4 feet tall, oversized head, oversized eyes, slit for a mouth, minute nose. They were being preserved in a formaldehyde type chemical liquid as this thing goes right by. She saw this. Now, one thing I want to mention is that whenever you hear senators and congressmen talk about this, they don't have a need to know, and they have not been briefed or read into these programs, and that's the problem we're running into. So when researchers got to Mrs. G and they did a very interesting interview with her, basically she said, what can the government do to me once I'm in my grave? 6 months later, she died, so she should be considered a hero and an American patriot.
Join us each week on That's Classified with Michael Schratt, military aerospace historian, as seen on Ancient Aliens, UFO Hunters, Coast to Coast AM, and Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura.
Coast to coast.
I've heard they had bodies at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some of the Roswell wreckage I heard was there. They took the bodies to Wright-Pat, and then some of the other stuff's at Area 51. The fact that they're pickling them aliens means they're trying to preserve them so they can study them, I would think.
Yeah, it is definitely weird when you think about that time, especially when Roswell happened and everything. Then just the advance we had in technology just boomed, you know, flight and everything, and it is all kind of coalesced. It was like it was so many years, hundreds of years, that it was just kind of at a standstill. It kind of is what it is. All of a sudden, within a 10-year span, it was, you know,
we went from transistors to we had transistors, and then we got microchips and semiconductors and all that stuff just kind of like popped up, and everything's microscopic. You're like, your phone's got more technology in it now than they had for the lunar lander.
Absolutely. All right, check this out. Look, I found this. This is the trail cam video. I'm calling it no good, but we'll see.
This mysterious creature was captured on a trail cam. At first, it looks a lot like a wolf, but looking more closely, the front legs appear to have elongated fingers, unlike any species of dog or wolf. The face, in particular, the nose and teeth of the creature appear almost human-like. Could this be a rare sighting of the mythological creature known as a werewolf? In folklore, a werewolf is an individual who can shape-shift into a wolf, either purposely or after being placed under a curse or a bite from another werewolf, with the transformation occurring on the night of a full moon.
Could have been like part dog man.
It falls into that thing like I want werewolves to be real so bad.
When I was a kid, that's all we had was werewolves and vampires. Now you got dog man. Was dog man the same thing as a werewolf? Why did we start calling him dog man?
Well, you know, it's what let me tell you my take is on vampires, on why I think that they can't exist. So when I was thinking about it, if vampires existed, then we wouldn't be here. That would be like the biggest epidemic that could ever happen. You know what I mean? They're going to keep eating or changing people. Eventually, you're talking over time, we wouldn't be here anymore.
They'd be picking us off a few at a time after dark because they can't be out in the sun.
Yeah, so that kind of answers that. Well, I don't think vampires could really be there. Not a real deal. This is another. Is
dog man like a wolf man with clothes? I mean, what's the difference between a dog man and a werewolf?
Well, I mean, the dog man goes. That just ties more into your Native American stuff. I think it's just their version of it. It's all just different people's versions of things.
I think Dogman is stuck like that all the time, but a werewolf could change into human and back to werewolf. I think a Dogman is just he's stuck like that all the time. He's an experiment that got loose from the government. Like they were breeding animals and people together, and they got these hybrids, and they got smart and they escaped.
Well, that was that's one of the stories from Land Between the Lakes. Is they say that when the Native Americans were getting killed, they were shifting into their wolf form, but if they got killed in the middle of the shift, they were locked in that, in the middle of that shift or whatever, and their spirit or ghost or whatever you want to call it is in that form of the half man, half wolf, which Dogman
fits that bill.
Exactly. Here's one. Look, so this guy gets this video. To me, whenever somebody shows me a video or I see a video in the woods of just eyes looking at me, I always assume it's a cat or bobcat or in the feline family, right? Because their eyes look the same no matter what. But check this out.
For whatever reason, they're pretty close to the house this morning. Just out of sight, like usual. Girlfriend just came upstairs screaming, woke me out of bed, said that there's something on the roof, and I don't see it. She thinks one of them's up there somewhere. I don't know. But she said she's going to leave if I can't do something about it. So I don't know what to do here. What the hell was that? All over the damn place again tonight. I'm gonna keep walking towards it. Might actually get to capture something here. Alright, whatever you are, you need to leave. Stay out of this place. This is our home. This is our home. You need to leave. You leave now. I don't think it's going to come around for a little bit. I think that'll keep it away for a while. She just woke me up again and said she heard it on the roof. And this time so did I. So you can get out there and have a look. Okay. Oh, holy shit. All right. Son of a bitch is one on the other side of the house. Oh. Oh. What the hell? Where'd it go? What is that? What the son of a... What's going on here? Oh my God.
Just my eyes on the roof.
I'm thinking he had a raccoon up there.
Well, it looked like, I don't know what it left up there. It looked like it left its dinner up there.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. Was it snow?
No, it was something laying there.
I couldn't tell what that was. I know.
It was blurred out. You couldn't really see it. But, I mean, there wasn't snow on it before, in the earlier video, so I wouldn't see why there'd be snow just in that one area.
But a lot of people don't realize that geese fly overnight. Like I had a buddy, he lived by a golf course, and there was a pond, and then geese always be coming in. Sometimes they'd land on his roof in the middle of the night. He said, man, if you get a 30-pound goose landing on your roof in the middle of the night, it's clunking around up there. He said, and they ain't got real strong grip with them webbed feet. He said they'll be sliding and scratching and everything. He said it'll freak you out. Then you go out there and see a bunch of stupid geese on your roof, But I have had reports of that happening. And then you get out there in New Jersey, they got that kangaroo bat looking thing they call the Jersey Devil. That thing lands on your roof. It's got like a horse head on it and big bat wings. It's about size of a damn. It's bigger than a golden retriever. It's probably between a golden retriever and a dang Great Dane sized thing with big back wings, like a horse face on it. And one of them lands on your roof. That'll get your attention.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm leaning toward raccoon because as soon as he shined it, it took off.
Yeah, it's definitely some kind of animal.
Yeah.
What can the government do to me once I'm in my grave? 6 months later.
That's it. And venga.
Phil, that was incredibly ugly.
They call that frankenfish. And
It was ugly.
I just want everybody to realize they do have fish like that down in South America. I think they call it an apopyra or something like that. But you definitely don't want to go noodling in that river. Don't be doing no
Well,
hogging
you
like
hear
do
about
with
the,
catfish. You'll come out with a stud.
What are the fish called? Snakehead?
Yeah, those are invasive. They got
They
those.
crawl on land.
Yeah,
They
they
crawl
got
on
them all
land
the way.
for like so many days to migrate to different lakes and ponds and river streams. But they
Because can
totally
breathe-
destroy the whole ecosystem of the river.
Yeah, because they can
Everything.
breathe water, air and water. They got lungs and gills.
They do look creepy.
They're pretty good eating though. Up around the Potomac River up there, they go overnight with floodlights, and then they bow fish for them, and then the restaurants are cooking them up there. So they're trying to control their snakehead population by eating them.
Guess it works.
This first video comes to us from a YouTuber named Bailey Canterbury and was published on YouTube on September 16th, 2008, and has been fascinating viewers ever since. The video at first seems to be completely normal. Bailey is shown recording the area he is in, Ford Theater in Berea, Kentucky, at around 6:30 to 7 p.m. We watch as he pans the camera across the stunning green trees when out of nowhere this appears.
Where the hell did that thing go? That is scared, dude. What the is that thing? Do you see it? No. I hear the bushes moving. What the hell is that thing, man? Are you getting it on the camera?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Where'd it go?
It's behind those bushes, man. Look.
Oh shit.
Oh my
God.
What is that thing, man? I didn't know it was that fucking big. It's not coming up here, is it?
No, I didn't think it recognized us, man. Calm down. Be quiet.
Is it doing eating? What's it doing, man?
Be quiet.
Shit, what in the fuck is that thing? Is that a bear? What is that? Dude, we gotta get out of here.
Hold on, man. I don't think it doesn't even notice we're here.
Holy shit, what is that thing, man? Oh my god. Dude, I'm about to get out of here, man.
Let's go.
A large, tall and hairy creature can be seen walking across the screen, which has obviously got many people speculating that Bailey managed to capture authentic video footage of Bigfoot's existence. One believer said, "You can tell by the arms that this is not likely a human. Arms are very long, which is a key characteristic of a Sasquatch. Although I'm not 100% sure, it looks fairly legit. The emotions of the guy seem natural as well. Thought-provoking video clip to say the least." Of course, there are always other theories out there, but the Bigfoot one here is definitely the most widely believed among those who've seen the video. And it's not hard to see why, considering just how similar the creature in this video looks. What do you think this entity is? Do you think that Bailey actually recorded video proof of Bigfoot's existence, or is this something else altogether? Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Man, I don't know. It definitely was not a buffalo. It was smaller than a buffalo. It walked on two legs the whole time like a person, but they're trying to say that arms was too long to be a person.
Mm-hmm.
This was a guy in a suit wearing arm extensions, but how would anybody know he was walking out about that time, to film it,
Could have been somebody in a ghillie suit.
Well, ghillie suit would be like green, though.
Could have been a setup, Phil.
What do you think it was?
Them playing around.
Could be.
But I don't know.
I noticed when it stopped, he said, "Hey, be quiet," like it heard him talking or something. And then he kept telling his buddy, "Shut up." And then his buddy was like, "Let's get the hell out of here."
I think I'll be ready to get out too.
I've been over there in that area in Kentucky. It's pretty woolly. You can go about 8 miles back in there and not even see another road, person, farm, nothing.
Hey guys, check out this incredible video of what appears to be a very massive and huge UFO flying over the Miami Mall. I couldn't believe my eyes when I first got a glimpse of this video, but I wanted to share it with you guys today. Here you could see it coming through the trees, and this is security footage. This thing's huge. Look at it, guys. It also has lights on it. Now, last year in 2023, there was an incident at the Miami Mall where a bunch of rowdy teenagers were exploding fireworks and ran out of the mall being chased by police officers, claimed that they also saw shadow beams. Could these extraterrestrials and aliens be related to this ship sighting in 2019 at the Miami Mall? Comment below.
Looked pretty good.
It looked a little bit like the one they saw in Brazil, only it was red instead of blue.
Well, the lights on the back kind of look like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, it almost looked like it had lights or windows all around it, and it was red. I don't know if it was they got a drone kit you can buy with skin on it like that, and they change the colors. I don't know. I have to research it. 'Cause I know they got a witch you can buy. You drive around, it looks like a witch flying on a broom, and it's a drone up inside there. It's like a kite that you put on outside the drone, and it can still fly, and the propellers and everything are on the inside, and it flies around.
All right. You ready for your favorite time?
It's time, man. I think it's time.
We call this the paranormal paramoo. And if a spirit or any kind of Indian one comes around and ring the cowbell, then we know something's around. And just in case we don't have enough cowbell, we got more cowbell down here.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell. I could have used a little more cowbell. I could have used a little more cowbell.
Could have used more cowbell.
One of these days, the cowbell's going to go off. One of these days.
So while we're talking about it, and that just showed. So in case anybody don't know that may be watching, you know, you make a lot of the stuff. So of course, a lot of the stuff we have for investigations, stuff like that, our electronical stuff, our cameras, rim prods, all that good stuff that you can buy. But then you yourself also make a few things that we want to see in action. I want to see the cowbell get rang at least once while I'm doing this. Yeah. So I see you got one on the desk right there. What do you got right there on the desk?
This one, let's see. This one has it's got a tritium ball on the top, and this copper coil brings in the energy, and tritium ball brings in the energy through the copper coil, which transmits through inside. And then this ball's got reflective tape, so you can see it in the dark. And then I've got bells on it, on this one. And then I put marbles in the bottom too, and it could be manipulated by a spirit or an earthquake or tornado. But I've had this one move a couple times, and like, see, I'm moving it shakes pretty fast, but I've had it move real slow, like a controlled manner. And then one night I was at a cemetery, and I heard all the marbles rattle, and I come running over there, and it fell over. It was I think it was wet grass, and it just fell over, and all the marbles rattled in it. So I do have another one that's got like a spinner inside a glass jug, and it's moved twice. And I do have video evidence of that, which I'll try to put on maybe next week. But it's pretty freaky when you look down on this jug you've been carrying around for 2 years. All of a sudden, it starts spinning. Like, if I touch it, it spins real fast. But this was just like barely moving, like something was controlling it, real slow. So,
and of course, that's why you put them like in the jugs and stuff like that. So for sure, it's not air hitting it, it's not wind.
Right. And if you use a heavy glass jug, absolutely. And if you use a heavy glass jug, it can't move. Now, this particular one, I've also put cat balls in it. When we were at the Pope Lick Trestle up in Louisville, I had a cat ball inside of this, and it went off inside of it. And when the train went over, and I went back later and investigated the concrete where it was setting. There was a crack in the concrete, and I think the vibration from the train was setting off the cat ball. But it was pretty cool to see it happen.
Yeah, you'll go hours and hours and days, nothing happening. That's what a lot of people don't understand. If you don't ever go and do these investigations or actually go on these trips, you know, you watch it on TV and stuff, and you're saying, wow, 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 wow. There's times that, I mean, for me especially, you know, well, just as I do, we've gone somewhere for all night. Nothing happened. Not a single thing happened. Nothing on any videos. And that's actually what it is more times than any.
And what I don't know about the TV shows was that really one night, or they film over a 2-week period to get some evidence? I mean, it's I'm not into their production schedule or anything. I just know a lot of times when we go out, we don't get anything, which is usually reassuring to the homeowner, especially if they call us and they're hearing a noise, they're freaking out, the door's moving, and most of the time I can debunk a door. It's the air conditioning kicking on and it pulls the door shut. Or I had one, they said something scratching on the house, and I went out there and it was another air conditioner. When the air conditioner unit kicked on, they didn't have their shrubbery trimmed back, and the bushes were blowing on the side of the house, scratching it. But inside the kid's bedroom, it sounds like a monster scratching on the side of the house, you know. And I'm like, hey, you know, if you trim your bushes, I think this will clear up for you. But that's
and we got a couple more things we're going to talk about on, you know, a couple little things here and there. But then the majority of what we're going to talk about tonight, definitely, you know, I was excited. You were excited. We waited for a very, very long time to get in, so we got to go to Waverly. We were locked in all night there. Super good time. Really cool to see the place. I thought it was awesome. And we got some cool stuff that we found, along with some other videos other people's found, and some TikTok videos and stuff that people's posted. And really excited to talk about that tonight.
We did get some compelling evidence. We have some electronic evidence, and we got a couple pictures that are really interesting. And so I'll be glad to talk about it.
And that's what's fun about about this channel. That's what's really fun about it, and this podcast we do, and our investigations. It's where we stand apart from everybody else because we're not just looking for ghosts. You know, we want anything in that realm. We want anything that's considered a supernatural kind of deal. We want to go look for all of it. We want to see it all, talk about it all, educate on it all we can. That's what kind of brings in this next video. It just kind of falls into that out of the different realm, but in our realm for sure.
In this video, a NASA insider on his deathbed admits to faking the moon landing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
Eugene Reuben Akers. I don't want any money for what I'm doing because hopefully this video won't come out until after my death. So I have nothing to gain, nothing to profit by telling you what I'm going to tell you. In 1968, my father was stationed at Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico. We lived in Clovis, New Mexico. He was in the military police for over 20 years, and on his deathbed in 2002, we made a recording of what happened. Project Slam Dunk was the name of this. President Johnson in 1968, okay? In Cannon Air Force Base in 1968, he said by the time he got there, that there was already 2 large hangars that were connected. There was hundreds of dump trucks that came in and dumped sand and stone, and cement powder was powdered over the top of all that to make it look like a lunar landscape. They had men that fashioned it into a lunar landscape, he said. Okay, I've never known my dad to lie, so this all took me by surprise. You know, what's that all about? So anyway, he said that in front of the airplane hangars was pole framing with large canvas tents that was concealing the inside of the staging area. Inside the staging area, on flatbed trucks, was created the lunar lander that was reassembled back inside the hangars. All of the walls were painted flat black, and the ceilings as well. He was sworn to secrecy by the NSA, and they would put him in prison for breaking that oath. When Dad saw the moon landing on TV, he cried. He said he knew that what he had witnessed on TV was exactly what they recorded in that hangar.
All right, so thoughts on that one, buddy?
Pretty interesting story. I've heard conspiracy theories on that before where people think they faked the moon landing. Like they've had different camera shots where they said, why was the flag blowing? There's no breeze up there, and different things with the shadows. They're saying it couldn't have happened the way it did. And who was filming it when he got when he jumped out for his first step for mankind? Who was there to film it when he come out? That's the question I always wonder. I'm like, did they go out, set a tripod up, go back in, then jump out? There's guys been trying to look for years with telescopes to see if they can see the flag or any of the equipment that's still up there. And if we really went, there should be some equipment there,
Well, didn't Japan or China or somebody just recently make a moon trip, or
one of them,
or they sent something to the dark side of the moon?
Yeah, they're over there on the Pink Floyd side. Yeah, they found a crater up there. They think like a cave where they think we could build a base in there. Because there's no atmosphere on the moon, so you're very vulnerable to meteorite strikes up there. So if you ever looked at it with your binoculars and telescope, you can see all the craters up there. So it looks like Swiss cheese from all the impacts. So there's nothing to slow down the meteors, and then they hit. So they were thinking maybe if they could build a base in the cave, it'd be under the surface enough that would protect them from those meteorites.
Yeah,
I'd like to think we went to the moon, but that guy seemed pretty legit with his story. I've also heard there was another movie producer guy that on his deathbed he said he was the one that produced it.
Yeah, my only issue with that is having the amount of people that you would need involved
Somebody
to
going to
carry
talk.
that kind of conspiracy, the mouths you would have to keep shut. It seems like to go through that work, it's easier for me to believe that all those people kept quiet. Nobody said nothing that would have been a part of it. It's easier for me to believe that we really went up there than we could stage something fake and make it like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have a couple people talking. I know a couple of the astronauts. I think even Lance Armstrong said some stuff, towards towards his end and stuff where he was saying that it was faked and stuff like that, or stuff and then it was something about then they did go the stuff they found is what they had to be quiet about, an alien base and different things like that. So I think definitely we went and we made it up there because it would just be too crazy to keep that many people quiet about it.
If you go to Wapakoneta, Ohio, they got a little museum there, and I forget which astronaut it is, but they've got his space suit in there that he wore. They've got a lot of the stuff that came back from the moon. And I don't know if you faked it, I would think he'd be trying to make more money off. At some point, somebody find some loopholes in your story, Kind of like you're saying, it's going to be hard to keep everybody's mouth shut and keep a story like that under wraps.
The only thing that I've ever had issues with it is if we went up there and stuff like that is why did it stop all of a sudden? Right?
Why aren't we colonizing already? Why aren't we building, or why didn't we already have a base instead of the space station that we're flying around, and that they're going to eventually have to jump that, and I don't know if they're going to build another one or what.
So what could possibly be on the moon that is making us not go back?
Well, if it's just a rock, then there ain't nothing there worth mining or digging up. So then, they could be practicing for Mars up there. Would be one thing I would think. In a Martian habitat, you could try to you're closer to Earth if you need to rescue somebody than if you're on Mars somewhere. It'd be a good jump off point to do a dry run before you go that far. But,
no, interesting to see. All right, so it's that time. Let's talk Waverly. Right, so why don't you go ahead, just kind of fill everybody in when we went, what it was like when we kind of got there and stuff like that, and just the kind of like the process, that we went through and stuff like that.
So they do public tours on the weekends mostly. So we wanted to rent the thing for all night for our private investigations for our team, and you can go anywhere you want. And they only do those on Sunday through Thursday. So we went on a Thursday night, which give everybody, take a Friday off of work, whatever, give everybody a weekend to recover. Some of our more sensitive people, they get what they call a paranormal hangover. Like the next day they'll have a headache, and sometimes they'll be kind of out of commission for a couple of days after they go to a very active location. So I figured we do it on a Thursday, that gives them a weekend to recuperate. And I've heard different reports. One report I heard there was over 70,000 people died. And I just saw another report today, over 120,000 people had died there from tuberculosis. So that's a lot of potential for spirit energy, that many people dying. There were so many people dying. That's why they put in they call it the body chute. It's a 500-foot long tunnel. It's a pretty good steep grade. I'd say it's about a 45-degree angle down there. And there were so many people dying, they would take them out through the tunnel so the other patients wouldn't see them, and try to help keep them around. But I think it started out as a 50-bed hospital, and they kept adding on and adding on. They were able to hold over 400 patients, and they thought fresh air would help. So the whole back side of it's open. You go out these like little balconies, and then the roof's open. And the kids that were there, they had playgrounds on the roof and swing sets and whatnot. And, up about 5 stories high, and then the backside was all sealed off. So if you were on the open side, and then all of a sudden you're getting transferred to the sealed up side on the front,
definitely knows bad.
Yeah, it's like a hospice situation at that point because people go.
Well, it was a lot of fun, and we went there, and so once we had got in and stuff, which there was 26 of us that went. And we kind of broke up in different groups and stuff. You know, a couple of the other paranormal groups that went with us. But what was really fun was, so they took us through a tour, which was cool. It was cool to get a walk through and kind of see that and hear different stories and stuff going on. Like they had told us, especially like on the 4th floor, the big deal was the surgery room. You know, they told us if we were brave enough to attempt it and try it, one thing that they have found that kind of spikes up some energy, or, you know, be it negative or good, it kind of ramps up some stuff there, is if you go in and perform a fake surgery, because it's like you're kind of mocking that surgeon, stuff like that. So, of course, Phil and I, first ones to volunteer for that one. We actually did 2 surgeries that night in the room.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. We'll talk more about that later. Then going down the body chute, roughest thing about the body chute, I'll tell anybody, if you're older, if you're out of weight, out of shape, walking back up is terrible. That was murder.
We had one gentleman with a heart condition, and I'm like, "You sure you want to go down here?" He goes, "I'm doing it." I'm like, "Okay." When he come back up, he sat down. He was popping nitroglycerin pills, and I was really worried about him. I thought we were gonna have to call an ambulance or something, but he took his nitro pills, and he was cool. After the rest of that, he was a trooper. But I was a little
scary
worried.
at first.
Yeah, I was a little worried about him. Yeah, you definitely get out of breath coming up that thing.
Yep, and it's an eerie feeling walking down it. I mean, you know the history, you know what happened there. I mean, how many people were transported down that thing? You know, and that's the whole reason it was created, was to transport people that had died down there into a hearse so the other patients wouldn't see them leaving the building. It took them to the bottom of the hill because they thought it would, you know, drain morale or whatever from people. So we got to do that. Of course, we got to go into the morgue room. It was awesome. Laid down the morgue slab. That was fun. Tables and stuff were cool. It looked pretty neat. We'd got to go and do... The other room was cool too, I guess. So on the 1st floor, outside lobby, you go in and they said that was a room where they used to keep medical files and stuff like that, which is weird because it's just a closed metal room.
It was a vault like you see in a bank, and there was an elderly lady went in there. And I don't know if they forgot about her or shut the door or something.
Well, the door had shut behind her, and it was a lock only on the outside.
Yeah,
and it was on a Friday. Everybody got off. She was stuck in there all weekend.
Yeah.
And they say she died in there.
Yeah.
Over that weekend. So, of course, that was another thing. Oh, well, if you go in there by yourself. So, of course, we went in there. Anything that they said was that you could attempt to do or push any buttons, we definitely was game for trying it.
Any active locations or any of the stories, we made sure we hit all those locations and tried to participate. Absolutely. We had cameras set up everywhere. They said they've had activity. I talked to some other people that's been there before it was even able to open up as a paranormal investigation, you know, pay to play type place. They used to just go in there when it was just abandoned, and they told me some places to set up cameras. So that was good information.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll run some videos and stuff so people can kind of see. And these are like going to be like TikTok videos and different videos from other people, and then we'll show all of our stuff that we'd got from that night, which we still have stuff we have to go through. Like, it takes days and days and days to watch through these videos and check it out. But we really wanted to do the show tonight. We really wanted to get Waverly talking about it, stuff like that. And hopefully we'd go back there someday, because I think it'd be cool to go back. I'd like to go back to where it could just be just a few people.
Yeah.
You know, because like that was my one concern, was when you have that many people, if you got energy and stuff like that, dude, where's the pick to go? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been told when you have too many people in a location, sometimes it'll drive the spirits to another floor, or you'll think you're seeing a shadow person and it's just another investigator. There's so many people running around like, did I just see something? No, that's Bob. Oh, that's Dave. Oh, that's that's John from the other team, whatever.
And that's why we tried too. If we were on a floor or we were in a room or something and there was another group, we tried to leave and go to a different area and hit areas where people weren't at, so we could keep that separation there. But here's a couple videos on Waverly. We'll start out. This is just kind of like the history of Waverly built and all that good stuff.
World's Most Haunted Places Part 1, Waverly Hills Sanatorium. These are real photos. This is scary as fuck. Comment if you would stay here overnight.
She said this is scary as fuck.
Yes, she did.
All right, check this. That was just a little mini to run out. Check this one out.
Louisville's Waverly Hills Sanatorium has been called the most terrifying building in America, with an infamous history that draws paranormal thrill seekers from all over the world. In the early 20th century, Waverly Hills was built as a sanatorium for tuberculosis patients. The sanatorium was in use before doctors had found a cure for the disease, so over the years, thousands of patients allegedly died painful deaths from experimental treatments. Waverly Hills was also the site of 2 suicides that both took place in the same room. The hospital finally closed in 1961, and today the building is known, unsurprisingly, as one of the most haunted places on Earth. Many visitors have reported eerie ghost sightings and other paranormal activities.
So it's pretty neat stuff. They talk about the suicides. So of course, one being the nurse upstairs, which we'd got to go to where that out of, right outside room 502, which they say is very, very active.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Big room there. And she had hung herself on the outside. There's a lot of different stories. So I was researching a lot of different stories about why people thought. And there's a couple different takes on it. One of them was that she had found out she was pregnant and that she had caught tuberculosis. So she knew that it'd be passed to the baby. So she just decided to do that instead of the suffering aspect. Another story that I had, this is more on your conspiracy side of things. I don't know, but that she had an affair with a doctor there and got pregnant, and it was kind of set up to where she was killed there and then made it look like a suicide. So the info didn't get out to the said doctor's family. With none of that confirmed, that's just stories that, nobody knows really but her. When we get down to it.
The other story I heard is she was distraught over the abortion and hung herself because she was just depressed.
So I don't know, which we did have a camera set up there all night at that spot. And I believe a REM pod was going off there, wasn't it? The same time that a security light went off.
The room next to it, it was an atrium, and that's where the kids used to be, and they're playing all the time with balls and whatnot. So another gentleman that's been there many times, he told me to set up a camera in there facing the windows because they've seen shadows, figures walk by the windows. They go walking by. So that's where I was set up. But I actually had a REM pod go off, and there was nobody there. And I had a cat ball and a REM pod and a motion light. And the motion light never went off. The cat ball never went off. But the REM pod went off like 3 or 4 times. And then right after that, some people actually come walking by and the motion light goes off. So I know the motion light was working. But whatever set it off did not affect the other 2 devices. And it did go off simultaneously. I think the second time it went off the same time there was a security siren going off. So you couldn't hear it. If you were standing there, you wouldn't have heard it.
And just in case anybody don't know, why don't you tell them what a REM pod is? How it works?
It's a small device that it picks up static electricity. It also picks up electromagnetic energy. So it puts out like a field out of the antenna, and then anything comes around it, it'll set it off.
Right. Definitely fun to play with.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now here's one, and sadly, it seemed like the tour, they didn't really talk about this. I didn't really see this until I started digging into more videos and stuff. Stories about the creeper.
Yeah, the creeper.
That's at Waverly. They didn't really talk about that. They didn't want to bring that up.
They didn't talk about it on our tour, but I've heard about it. It's like a figure that he can crawl up the walls and he crawls up the ceiling. And like I've heard people saying they've seen legs come out of the ceiling, but I'm thinking that could have been a lady that, had took her own life. Maybe her legs were still, they were just seeing her legs, and we've got some.
Well, the creeper, they say they mainly see him on the different floor than that. Cause of course
the third floor. Yeah.
The third floor. Yeah. Cause the one where the woman hung herself, that's on the 5th floor.
Yeah. And the 3rd floor is where they think they see the creeper. And we got some pictures that we'll show a little bit later of some stuff walking around that I think it might've been the 3rd floor, but it was It looks like a shadow of something walking around.
Well, did you put the picture where I had where it looked like something's kind of standing coming out of the side of a wall?
Yeah,
It
there's
looked kind of
one,
like two
there's
figures,
one
but
like a guy leaning over, and then there's one walking away from you, and then I got another one that looks like some like Timberland boots.
see that one, and we'll talk about when we bring that picture up. I have an idea of what I think that one is. I think that one's just kind of an optical illusion. But now a couple of other pictures, and we'll talk better about them when you can see them. But we got a pretty decent picture right there on that third floor, which is where the two came from. And then the other one that I got pretty excited about was the shadow in the hall. And why I got excited about that, I remember when we took the picture. So that was when Kathleen and Gary was doing the EVP inside the sister's room. We were outside on the ledge. We were just out there talking. And I was just taking my phone, just random pictures, flipping them around, going through them. And that's where I found that one, which we'll show that one later. It was a pretty wild little picture to have in there. But here's a video about the creeper, which he's on third floor.
Can you see this right here? The creeper ghost is the scariest ghost by far at Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. I not only have one photo, I have two photos of the creeper ghost. Tuberculosis, also known as the White Plague, was running wild in Kentucky. So in 1911, Waverly Hills opened its doors and started doing things like this to try to help patients. Patients went through a lot of trauma here, and it created a lot of spirits, and one of them is known as the creeper. The creeper is said to have long, spindly arms and legs, and it'll crawl across the floor or the ceilings. People report feeling a sense of dread before they see it. It likes to sneak up on you. It'll even brush up against your legs. If you're in here and you start feeling like, woe is me, look up, because chances are you'll see it. Jason just came in here to watch me and it's making me nervous, but a follower sent me this photo and it was taken up in room 502, and can you see this right here? I've circled it. It seems like it's crawling out from around the corner. I've brightened it up a little bit, but there it is. I also have one of it on the ceiling. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments.
So he definitely looks kind of creepy if you saw it in there. And to answer your question, Cindy, on that, so we didn't do a live from Waverly. It's just such a big place, and we were really trying to concentrate on what was going on. Like we would do lives at some places, but a lot of times we're trying to keep as much electronics down as we can. So we give a chance for all that equipment to work and stuff like that, because Wi-Fi can really trip up and set some equipment off and stuff. So if we're broadcasting, a lot of times it's going to set those meters off. And, and we found it multiple times. We found it happen using Wi-Fi cameras and stuff like that. So a lot of times that's why we don't really do live on investigations. But, we'll definitely get them out there. And there is some things that we will do live and stuff like that. And, especially if we're doing somebody's house, if they've called in asking for help or something, we're not going to broadcast their house and stuff like that out live. And we only share things with them, if they want it out there to be shared, that's the only time that we really bring that stuff out.
This one's a K2, and it's basically picks up EMF, and that's one of the other reasons we don't like to do a lot of lives, because the phone itself can set it off. When we're in an active location, we're using a lot of equipment, we'll put our phones in airplane mode because it'll trigger these devices. Wi-Fi sets them off. I can walk through a house and find your router in about 10 minutes with this. Wi-Fi will set it off, electrical problems set it off. Also, if you're sitting on a table, you have one of these and you've got a spirit box going or a speaker going, try not to set this on the table, because they also pick up seismic vibration. I can tap that and make it go off. So if you're sitting on a table and you got a speaker going, just the bass from the speaker will set that off. And you're thinking it's something paranormal. It's not. These aren't as these have been, all the shielding's been taken out of these. So they're way more sensitive than an industrial one. I also have an industrial one. And the industrial one, it usually says 0 everywhere I go. I can set this one next to it and it'll go off, and the industrial one don't. But but you're talking about a REM pod. This is a REM pod. This is just a basic one. I got a fancier one that has different levels of intensity. This is just a basic one. You put your antenna up and it's putting out a field, electromagnetic static field. Anything comes near that antenna, it'll set it off. So I'll turn it on and demonstrate real quick. So this is your device. I gotta try to hold it still, which I'm not doing a very good job of holding it still, but I come by the antenna with my hand. See how sensitive it is? So that's
because
kind of how it
any
works.
kind of spirits, anything paranormal, ghosts, anything like that's going to put off, electromagnetic energy, and that's what kind of helps pick that stuff up.
These are like $15. These are down to like 30, 35. Run on 9-volt battery. The other thing, these are good if you're going into an initial sweep of the house, have your digital recorder. Another thing I highly recommend, I don't know how many times I've left a damn recorder somewhere because they're tiny, and I'll pack up the other night and I'll forget to pick up the damn recorder because I'll leave them all over the place. So I got they got these new ones. It's a wristwatch, and it's a recorder, and it's basically you can set it, it'll tell time and all that stuff, but it's a little recorder. You can strap this to your wrist. Everywhere you go, it records everything. So it's just, if you're doing EVPs, any of that kind of stuff, you can play it back later. It saves them in little files. So you can pull it up on your computer and you'll have like 100 little files. You can go through there and see them, and it'll show on the waveform if there's any sound or anything that you couldn't hear. But I highly recommend these little wrist watch recorders because I haven't left one yet.
It probably picks up some pretty wild conversations that we have too.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And Cindy too, and anybody, if you guys are curious about this or want to know about this, if we're going to an area or something like that, we'll take people with us if they want to check it out and see kind of what's going on and see what it's all about. We'll be selective with that. I mean, we're not going to just take people to people's houses, but we're going somewhere just like Jesse just said, he wanted to go back. He was talking about Casey Cemetery. We'll take people with us there. I mean, it's fun. If you're just curious about it, you could always ask us questions about it, or
if they're
and stuff like that.
If they're under 18, then their parents need to come. And a lot of kids, want to go out, and I think they just want to get scared or watch these horror movies and get the thrill seek going on and stuff. And then I've had some other younger kids that they acted more professional than some of the adults, asking questions and very scientific. They wanted to learn. So, I don't mind those kind of kids at all. I had, some of my families came out with me and stuff, but like, if you got a 15-year-old kid wants to come out, then the parents have to come, because it's just, what we're doing is not always the safest thing. You're out bumbling around in the dark, and don't know who's going to show up at a cemetery in the middle of the night and stuff.
That's true. We've been out multiple times, and you just have random people show up.
Yeah.
Whether it be other groups or people just out looking for fun.
You go to Casey Cemetery on a Saturday night, it's not uncommon for several groups to show up that night. And people just out doing this as like a hobby, or that's just their entertainment. They, there's a lot of serious people. They're not in big groups, or just family. A couple people go out but you'll run into a lot of those folks out there.
All right, here's another video of Creeper. I'm a little fascinated about him, I guess, because we didn't hear about it till afterwards, but.
Is the size of the Creeper at Waverly Hills or City Lights?
I don't know. Did you see anything?
I'm about to roll that one again.
I think that went too fast. I didn't see nothing. Hold on.
Is the size of the Creeper at Waverly Hills or City Lights?
I saw it.
I saw it that time. Yeah, you know what I think that is?
Little, like, white flickering eyeballs in that door opening. If you see them, they're in there.
Yeah, you know what I think that is, though? What it looked like?
Yeah,
I think they officially caught a bat.
I don't know. The bat's eyes aren't that far apart, are they? I don't know. There are bats in Waverly. There are definitely bats.
Definitely.
We got a video of the lady. She's scared the hell out of her in there, and I've seen a few of them. I love bats because they eat mosquitoes. Anything that eats mosquito, I'm on board, man.
Bats are creepy.
They're creepy, but they eat
I don't like
mosquitoes.
anything flying at me. I don't like birds either.
What's freaky is
Anything
if
flying
you're
at
in
me, man, it just puts me off. I don't like it.
if you're in a pitch dark and you're like in a cave or you're in a whole hospital like that and there's no light and you can't even see your hand, and then bats come by and their little wings will hit your cheeks. It's kind of
not
freaky.
making it any better for me right now.
Like I know they won't hit me, but it's freaky. I had another lady there and she had one of them big poofy hairdos, and the bat come by and swooped her hair, and she went screaming and running out of there. I felt bad for her, but the bats fly in caves. They're not going to run into you, but it is weird when their little wings hit your cheeks. They're going that close to you. It's pretty freaky.
Yeah. Well, this is a pretty cool little thing too. I found this video. I like it. It looks good, but then I always get worried when something looks too good. But see what y'all think.
All right, guys. So I thought I was only going to make a part 1 and a part 2 to the Waverly Hills storyline. But then I had a friend hit me up who has also been to Waverly Hills. And holy did she blow my mind with what she experienced. First off, her experience happened on the top floor. You know, the story goes that there was a nurse that was 8 months pregnant and she hanged herself up here. And her ghost has been seen by a lot of people, a lot of stories, a lot of investigators, a lot of people doing the tour, and just bystanders. So my friend tells me as she's up on the top floor, she starts snapping photos. And trust me, this is not an, oh, I caught an orb story. Which, by the way, I don't really like orbs, especially in old, dusty places. But back to the experience. As she's snapping the photo, this is what she caught. That is scary. So, at first, I had no idea what she was showing me because it looks like, oh, it's just a person in your tour, right? Absolutely not. This is the photo zoomed in. And I swear to God, as I'm doing this TikTok, my eyes are watering and I have massive chills. This is one of the most impressive photos I have ever seen of the paranormal. This is what the nurse actually looks like. The apparition that was caught by my friend literally looks just like this photo. This has got to be one of the most prolific pieces of evidence ever caught at Waverly Hills. So if there's anybody who works there or investigates there a lot, let me know.
So I tell you what, looking at that, so it kind of looked like, I know if you see pictures of like little girls and stuff in like the 50s and 60s and stuff, picture them in that white dress, the white top with the blue dress with the two kind of saddle straps.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I saw in the picture. It looked like one of those dresses with the saddle straps.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah, but I mean, it looks so good, so it always throws me off on pictures like that.
It was kind of behind the so room where room 502 is. There's the elevator doors come open there, and then there's a door on each end and a stairwell, and the door on each end there's also a window. So I'd have to look at it. I don't know if she was looking outside that window from where the 502 room entrance is, or if she was in the atrium looking in. But it was on the left side, and all those windows are on the front, or actually the rear of the building. It looks like the front, but it's actually the rear of the building. So she was either on the outside atrium looking in, or she was, well, it's on the left side. So she'd actually have to be looking out at the west end of that window, or she was looking from the atrium, the other atrium, which is on the east side of those two rooms, looking in. Either way, she was looking west because that window was on the left. So
Yeah.
that if that was the wall right by 502, that nurse or whatever that female apparition picture would have been standing right about where the lady hung herself.
All right, let's go through some of these pictures that we got. So these are pictures that we took, or members in our group
Yeah.
that took, and we'll kind of walk through and talk about those. So see, right there in the middle now, that's the one that I was talking about where me and you were standing right there at the left side of that ledge. I actually think we were talking about Game of Thrones because we were just kind of bullshitting there. They were in the room doing an EVP and stuff, and they were concentrated out there. Like I said, so I had probably 10 shots of this picture, one of them have that in it. Now, could it be some kind of glare, a smudge? I don't know, but I can't explain that it's not something paranormal. Like breaking into it, I've tried.
It looks like it's walking away from you, kind of.
Yeah,
like a shadow person.
But we was out on that ledge. That's right there on the second floor, and like we was out there for a good 20, 30 minutes.
I've got pictures
see
of
nothing
that same.
physically.
I've got pictures of that same area, and there's just nothing all the way down through there, and that's blocking the light. Like it's in the front of the. You can't see all the way to the other end there because it's blocking it, whatever it is. And there was no people there.
The only thing that worries me that is it real or maybe could help us with another problem we have. So another picture that we have. Now study how this position is of the shadow standing, right? Like it looks like it's taking that step, right? Now look in this picture. It's in the same stance.
Well, actually, that one's walking to the right.
But I mean, you know what I mean? It's taking that step.
We see the person on the left. That's an actual investigator on the left. Her name's Melina. Those are her boots, her black boots. But if you look to the right, it looks like a pair of legs, and you can make out part of the legs. And then when you zoom in on it, they look like Timberland boots. They're like a Tim boot. They're like they've been making those for years, but it's like a kind of a creamy white bottom with a tan leather, and
it's almost too clear.
It's almost too clear. Like it's like I was taking the picture, and when it tells you to hold still, maybe some guy zipped out real quick, and it just got a blur of them. I think that could be double exposure. Like I'm not convinced that I even took this picture, and I'm not convinced it's paranormal. But it's really cool though when you zoom in, you can like see through the legs, and there's like you can see the shoelaces and everything. And I mean, I don't know if it's paranormal or not. If it is, it's pretty cool. But I took it myself, and I'm not convinced. But I thought it was a really cool picture, so I thought I'd pull it up. Anything that I think is interesting, I'll pull up. But I'm not saying this is paranormal. But I'm not convinced. The one you had looks more paranormal to me because there was nothing. We know there was no person there or nothing there when you took the picture. This is a picture of the death tunnel where they took the bodies out. And one side had steps, the other side had a ramp. And every once in a while there'd be like a little piece of metal there where they used to have the conveyor attached. And if you wasn't real careful, you'd trip over that. But
when you walk back up, your ass will hurt.
Yeah, it's a good Stairmaster workout. Make sure you have a jug of water wait when you get back up there, and take a break if you need to. If you're not used to going 500 foot straight down and back up, it's a little. And from the pictures, it doesn't do it justice. You can't really tell how steep it is. Vinny found an old lantern in there.
Yeah, that was looking up at the lantern. Then here's a pic from us right there. We finally made it to the bottom.
And those are not eyeballs. Those are my red headlights on top of my head.
Definitely eyeballs.
We made it all the way to the bottom. It looks like we got to get a picture because we made it.
It's a little hike down there.
Yeah.
And slick too.
Oh yeah, there's a couple spots where you could really bust yourself.
All right, there. This was a cool room to go into right here.
That's the morgue.
Yeah, that's where they keep bodies in.
As many people as died there, they only had enough holding morgue drawers for 3. And that I think the middle one pulls out. One of them pulls out, and you can get on it. They'll put you in there if you want. But I don't know if I think one guy did. I can't remember. None of our team did. I don't think. But
no, I got on it.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
I was thinking there's like not
on the bottom one. They wouldn't let you get on the second or the third.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I know it's not known to be very active in that room, but people do it. Some people do it like a dare. But
yeah, I think it just pulls that whole creepy feeling of the being enclosed like that, and then you know what it was for.
And you were laying in it where the dead bodies laid till they got picked up, put down the body chute.
Then here, I'm just going to flip through some pictures of the outside.
That's they have a statue on the roof and one on the ground. They're identical of the nurse. It's a statue of a nurse. Because a lot of nurses died there too from tuberculosis.
Oh, yeah. So this was the one that was on. This is on the 3rd floor.
That might be your creeper guy there, because you can see his legs, and like he's kind of like on the right side there. There's like a pole behind, like a column behind him, and you can almost see like he's kind of leaning forward. And when you zoom in on that one, it does look like a set of legs. And then after this podcast, probably within sometime this week, I'll try to get all the pictures posted on our group page, our Supernatural Investigation Squad group page, so that you guys can blow them up, zoom them in, comment on them. You know, tell us if you think it's real, if you know, if it's bullshit. You know, if you're full of shit, we welcome the comments. So,
oh yeah, and if anybody looks at these and they're like, I have seen this, I've heard of this before, yada yada yada, this could cause this. We want to know that too.
Yeah,
because we're not out there just trying to be like, we catch ghosts all the time. You know, we're looking for answers just as well as we want to give answers.
Right.
To all these things. I want to see something. I still have not seen anything, as many as we've gone to, with my bare eyes. I want to see something. So, but I do put, you know, a couple of the pictures that we found and stuff like that. Just like the nun at Casey Cemetery. As far as my knowledge can go of how I can explain what it could be, but fully welcome anybody that may have a drip of knowledge on there that could share that with us. These are just kind of shots of the building.
Yeah, this is the backside. If you look up from the bottom concrete level where it's all brick, and you see there's some windows on the end there, but all down the middle there's no windows. That was all open air treating areas. So they believed with tuberculosis, one of the ways to treat people was to give them plenty of fresh air. Even in the wintertime, they would have people out there. They also used weighted blankets and weights. They would put weights on your chest. They felt like if they put weights on your chest, make you had to breathe harder, that would help with your lungs trying to fight it. The very end there where the windows are, that was a surgical area. Up on the 4th floor, I believe, was the surgery room where they did most of the surgeries. They did some pretty barbaric stuff. They believed that if they removed a couple of your ribs, that they would help collapse your lung, and that the lung, when it collapsed, would help push the tuberculosis bacteria or whatever out of there. That was just one of the treatments they did. They did some pretty horrific things just trying to save people, but they didn't know any better at the time. You know, we don't have some of the modern treatments we have now for tuberculosis and different things. It's treatable now, but back then it was a death sentence. Just a matter of how long you would live. They thought a lot of these treatments, they were just trying to keep people alive longer.
And that was why we'd try to do a couple surgeries in there, see if we could get something to. They said it may irritate it, so. And we don't go out just trying to irritate things or antagonize.
Yeah, we don't promote.
We're not really about that, but I mean, sometimes if somebody tells me not to do something, I kind of want to do it.
We kind of want to. There's nothing wrong with having a triggered object or trying to reenact something to initiate a response, but we're not going to go out there and, you know, try to provoke something. We don't conjure stuff up. We don't mess with Ouija boards or any of that kind of stuff. We don't want to open up some kind of portal or something we don't know how to close or how to deal with. So, but we will, like they said, hey, you know, there's surgeries in here. Sometimes people try to reenact a surgery and that'll elicit a response. So we're like, okay, let's do a mock surgery. So we did that, and I didn't get a response. Vinny didn't feel anything, but right after we walked
they said that if I would have laid down and got that surgery done, that the last time somebody had done this, they had severe pains in their ribs, and it lasted for like 2 weeks, and they couldn't explain what it was. I didn't get any pains or experience anything going on, and I wish our group would have videotaped it, but this is kind of when me and Phil was on our own, and they were kind of looking in other areas. There was another group that did video it. Hopefully we could get that video sometime and we could share that out, because it was fun. You know, it was a good time, because there was another group in there and they were doing the Estes method while we were doing the surgery, which, Phil, if you want to explain what that is.
What the Estes, they were using Necrophonics app, and you can get on your phone. It's a utility app. You don't want to use any apps that say entertainment, because that's all they are. They're just for fun or games. You want a utility app. So they were using Necrophonics. They had to hook to headphones. So the person with the headphones can only hear what's coming through that app. So other people ask questions. They can't hear the questions. They can only hear the answers. And another step of that would be the total isolation. You'll blindfold that person so they can't see or hear anything. It takes all their senses out, so they're more opened up to whatever's coming through that device. So they were doing a question answer session, had the headphones, and right after we walked out, they said something. Said my name. It said Phil. It said please come back. Like they wanted us to come do another surgery, I guess. Whatever. But I've got another some more footage to go through. When we did our mock surgery, I'm still looking for that footage because when I went downstairs, my camera was down. Somebody took my camera and took it downstairs for me, which I appreciate. Somebody carried my camera down 4 flights of stairs, but I left it in there so we could record us doing our surgery. So I don't know.
So we may have a video of it that we have. Yeah, the camera was in there. Now I think about it.
And I've got body cam footage from my body cam too, but it's more like up close, of the actual surgery, like from the point of view of the doctor. So to be like Dr. Phil working on Vinny. So I do have some of that.
All right, now let's go through some of the videos and stuff that we'd got from being up there. And if one, if I click on a wrong one or something, if one says TikTok, sorry, that was another TikTok one we just wanted to show. But I'm pretty sure we're down to the section where this is all of our videos.
Our video and audio are the last 3. So everything before that would be other viewer content that we're trying to post.
Okay. All right, well, here, we'll check this one out. So this is, we'll just let you talk about it after we show this one. I know what this one is.
Well, hello there, buddy. Hey, buddy. Can you wave hi? Don't be shy, buddy. I see you. Come on back. There you are. What are you doing in there? You can come on out of there. You ain't got to hide. We're friends. Can you wave or can you walk or are you hurt? Can you come a little closer, buddy? I see you. You ain't got to be shy. Unless it's catching my reflection in the window or something. Are you waving?
So at first I thought that was my SLS camera. At first I thought it was picking up my reflection, but the window was actually off to the right. After I looked at it, it was like coming out behind a wall there. And the SLS, if anybody's not familiar, it's a structured light system camera where it sends out like lasers and laser sensors, and it bounces off stuff, and it's looking for anything the shape of a human. Then it bounces back, and then the sensors pick up whatever the lasers bounce off and come back. And it was originally designed as a video game for kids. They would move around, and it would track their movements. And these kids all over the world were like, "Hey, I'm playing by myself, but like player 2 just popped up and he's not doing the same thing I am. But there's nobody here. I'm by myself." So that's how it started. All over the world, these kids were experiencing player 2 and there's nobody there. So that's when they started looking at it as for paranormal research, because it's picking up stick figures of things walking around that aren't really there. And I feel bad for all these kids that had that happen, because they probably might, have something maybe going on in their house or not. I don't know, but it's a pretty interesting tool. And I don't know that everything it picks up is paranormal, because it'll pick up a lamp, it'll pick up a chair, a vacuum cleaner. I've had it pick up one of those like a coat rack, different things, and then usually you'll see the sensors go off, and then it just kind of dissipates. But if you're holding perfectly still and something pops up and it's moving around, then I lean to more think it could be something more paranormal in that aspect. But if I walk in and every time it picks up the same lamp over and over, I'm like, okay, it's just picking up the lamp. But this particular case, I was in room 502, where the nurse right in front of that room is where she had taken her life.
And there isn't anything in there like a lamp or a rack or anything.
No,
it's just all clear walls.
it was a flat wall. It was almost like a little partition between each wall, and this was standing out next to the partition in the open area where you can walk. And then next to that, if you see it kind of like morphing, like it's morphing in and out, like trying to make a little black square, that was the window. Because I've walked into windows and mirrors and it'll reflect and it'll pick me up, you know. But I'm holding perfectly still and I'm asking it to wave, and it looked like it might have moved its hands around a little bit, like it was doing something. But usually if it's a stick or a lamp, it won't move around much. But it's just another tool we use. Like I said, I'm not here to say everything it picks up is paranormal, but it's pretty interesting with something.
And we've seen videos too where it does things that you can't explain. That you clearly see the shape of a human where a human being is standing and something will be next to them. So
I've had them come up and like shake hands with people too, and that's pretty cool when something like that happens.
I know, there's always coming from.
Oh, they got more cameras up here.
Well, I don't know what that noise is.
I think it was this one. So there was there was no one in that room, and every once in a while you see a light come by the window. That's the UPS planes coming in one after the other, and you hear sometimes you hear some of the jet engine noise coming in, but there was no one in that room, and you could actually hear the people when they were coming. You could hear them a long way off when they finally got to that room, but it was interesting. It set that REM pod off several times, and whatever it was, didn't set off the motion light or the cat ball. But you see, when the people walk by, they actually set the motion light off. So I know my motion light was working, everything was working, and I picked this up the other night. I haven't changed the batteries. It's still got batteries. This is 2 weeks later. So I think the device was working fine. I think something was setting it off, but I didn't see any. There weren't any rodents up there. I didn't see anything on the, any animals, nothing. It was just dark. Like I didn't see anything, but something was definitely setting that off. And no one was in that room. It was a big atrium where the kids used to play with balls and stuff in there, like part of the playground.
Which that's where.
Right outside that room is where they had the swing set up. The kids would go in there. It's like a big sunroom, basically, a solarium kind of thing. And they would go in there in that atrium area is where they would, go in there and play. And people's had balls.
We'll show a video of that room. Of the big story there, which unfortunately we didn't see it. But if you set a ball in the middle of the room, it's going to push that ball. They say the little boy's Tommy. And that he'll push that ball, and I believe there's a video about it right here.
Keep the light on it. Timmy, is that you?
No, it's not moving.
If it's you, move the ball. Come on, Timmy, we heard you're really good at playing with balls. Let's see how you make that ball move.
They're both moving. I'll give you some wind maybe.
See if you can move the ball over to me, Timmy.
That one's not moving, but that one is. That ball's not moving, but that one is. Was.
Timmy, see if you can give the ball to me. Roll it over to me. Okay, you don't want to play ball, that's okay.
We'll get it back through. That one was.
That ball definitely moved. The one thing I didn't like is he takes the light away when it starts to move and then puts the light back up after it's moving. Like, if you shine the light away and it's dark, could somebody go over there and touch it and then jump out of the way real quick? I don't know. I didn't see nobody. It looked legit, but the light wasn't on the ball the whole time.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about it being a slope or something like that, I mean, it was going back and forth.
Yeah,
it wasn't just going one direction. So that kind of rules out any kind of slope in the ground or anything. Only problem I have we were there. All those are open windows.
Well, there was no dust on the floor when we were there. If you look at that video, there was so much dust. People wrote in the dust on the floor. So the ball, even if it tried to roll one way, might have hit one of those little spots where they cleared the dust out. And it's in the dirt. And it's rolling in those little troughs that somebody made trying to ride on the ground. When we went there, that floor was clean. It was like.
And you can definitely have breezeway in that room.
Yeah, because
it's open on the end.
It's open on the end, and it's open all the way on both ends, all the way through that building. And then some of the windows, I think, were open too when we were there. Yep. It was pretty interesting, though, seeing the ball move. I can't explain what was making my REM pod go off either, because it only did it. I had that camera there all night. It only did it those particular couple of instances. Nothing before that, nothing after that, and you could hear the people coming. You could hear them walking.
And we did set that REM pod up and the chair in the same spot where the alleged ball moves.
Yep, that same area, yes.
That video, that clip's right there by the operating room.
Yeah, it looked like somebody was standing out in front of it.
Which, I mean, for me, I didn't feel I mean, I don't feel a lot when we go to these places anyways, but I didn't get an eerie feeling or anything. For as hostile as they said that operating room can get, I didn't feel any kind of way or anything.
I even went in there where they cleaned the instruments, where they had the autoclave, where the surgeons would clean up and where all the blood was washed away. And I didn't feel anything either, but like I said, I'm not sensitive. One of our team members, he's fairly sensitive, and he said on that floor something come up, like give him a bear hug from behind, like grabbed him. He also heard a lot of little kids giggling in there, heard like kids playing and laughing. He also got the name Mary White. If that brings a bell with anybody, he got the name Mary White, and he also got the name Sarah. But that Sarah is the first name, could be anything, but I'd pay a little more attention when he gets the first and last name. But he's sensitive. I would call him a clairvoyant. He hears stuff, and he'll tell me what he's hearing. But he did get grabbed once. That's the only part of our team, other than somebody slipping on some water and hurting their knee. Other than that, everybody was pretty well injury free, except for just getting wore out for going up and down all the stairs and the body chute and everything else, but carrying equipment around all night. But he was the only one.
I don't know how many flights of stairs we climbed that night.
Quite a bit. It is, you got to be careful. Like I said, he's real sensitive, so stuff knows he can hear them, so they come up and touch him. And like that's the first time he's got hugged. Most times something just kind of touches him. Or
you get a lot of people say that they got their clothes pulled.
Yeah.
Back of a pant leg or something was tugged a little bit, or their leg was grabbed. All right, so this next thing, we'll show this. So this is actually an EVP that was caught by one of our members that had went with us. If you want to fill some information about her, if you want to throw that out there.
They're two sisters, Jennifer on our team, and she's out of Paducah. She's a full Reiki master, and her sister Melissa runs another team out of Ohio called Opits. She has her own team, and they do a lot up there where she's from with the Gretchen Fest, and they do a lot of different activities up there with paranormal investigations. They try to help people do home visits and whatnot. And her sister was there, came with her. So we had like a sister team. And what you're going to hear is them asking questions. And then something answers them. And we've heard it quite a few times. It almost sounds like something like, did I die? Or am I dead? Or something to that.
You have to kind of get kind of close and listen to it. Or maybe, if you're watching on something, you can throw some headphones on to hear it because it is a little quiet.
I have a hard time understanding them when I do hear them. And I'm like, is that paranormal? I'm like, okay, who's talking? They're like, that's not us. I'm like, well, who's the other person? They're like, that's what we're talking about. I'm like, okay, because you'll hear like another voice come in there at the end and it's real quiet, but it's not them.
Come on. There we go. Is that one of us? Shouldn't be one of us, and it's not picking up on my camera. But why that light like that? I don't know. And now it's... I mean, what equipment do we have that does that? I don't know, but look, Missy, it's not picking up. See my videoing? Seriously. It's not picking up. You can't zoom in on it? I am zooming. I'm as zoomed in as I can get. The lens cap on? I said that so fucking seriously. I'm so proud of me. I didn't know, honey.
See, I still have problems hearing it.
I'm trying to think, is that the right one? Because they had 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, that wasn't the one I think where they were in the sister's room.
I don't either. I think that's one where they're having equipment malfunction or something.
Well, check this out.
I can't hear what you guys are saying with Daniel.
He thinks he saw the thing we don't name. And I heard it twice. And he thinks he heard it twice.
Going the other way?
Going back behind us.
Oh my god.
Did you
It just flew right past me. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, I'm betting I can't, you guys. Don't leave me! I can't see where I'm going. Where am I?
So definitely, you will experience some bats.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable around bats, you probably shouldn't go to Waverly, because there are bats there, and I feel bad for that poor lady. She's just terrified of the bat. I don't think the bat probably wouldn't hurt her. They're just flying around looking for mosquitoes, and they might have been roosting in there, and she might have disturbed them. Or
Hey, I'd been screaming just like that if I would have seen one.
If you go to Rockville, Indiana, to that hospital in Rockville, it's got a lot of bats. I mean, you could watch like flocks of bats going up and down the hallway. It's just weird to see it because you'd be walking through a door in a hospital, and it's an old hospital, and you see a bunch of bats go fly by. Then like 5 of them, and then they fly back. And there's some of those LED flashlights. There's something wrong when they turn them on. There's a frequency, not all the LEDs, but certain flashlights, when you turn them on, it gives off some kind of weird frequency, and then bats go, for a better word, batshit crazy. And they fly all over the place. So I'm like, okay, don't use that light again. But an SLS camera doesn't seem effective at all. But they don't like certain LED flashlights, and they probably just don't like lights in general because they're used to flying around in the dark. I don't think they see real good. I think they just use their radar to figure out where they're going. But yeah, if you don't like bats, you probably won't like Waverly or Rockville Hospital. A lot of caves around Kentucky have bats, but for the most part, when you go in a cave during the daytime, the bats are just kind of sleeping up on the ceiling. But some of these old hospitals, the bats are pretty active because they're in there eating the bugs, which I appreciate them eating the mosquitoes.
We got to request play that EVP again.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's what they're asking.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. We had another EVP, and I apologize. I may have uploaded the wrong one, but they sent that one to me. So they were laughing about something about their camera zoomed in or something, and then something else I think speaks.
Here we go. Is that one of us? Shouldn't be one of us, and it's not picking up on my camera. But why that light like that? I don't know. And now it's... I mean, what equipment do we have that does that? I don't know, but look, Missy, it's not picking up. See my videoing? Seriously. It's not picking up. You can't zoom in on it? I am zooming. I'm as zoomed in as I can get. Lens cap on? I said that so fucking seriously. I'm so proud of me. I don't know, honey.
It sounds like they were thinking they didn't have their lens cap off or something like that, but I didn't hear anything else speaking, but I don't know if maybe they sent that to us because it was funny. I don't know. There was another EVP they had, which I thought that's the one I uploaded, but the other one said something about like, am I dead or something like that.
And it was right after they asked how they died.
Yeah. Maybe we can play that next week and try to redeem ourselves. I don't know if Jennifer's watching or her sister, but maybe they can comment or send us I know I pulled them off there, but I may have got the wrong one. I did. That's my screw up. I'll take credit for that.
That's all right. Whenever that happens, you just...
I could have used a little more cowbell.
All right.
Definitely nice. Always
Hey,
use more
sum it up
cowbell.
though. Hey, Waverly was a fantastic time. Definitely, it was on ours, and I'm sure a lot of people's paranormal bucket list. Definitely, I'd like to go back. Like I said, be definitely interested in that. I know one we're talking about trying to get one lined up. Really exciting. It's the Insane Asylum in Indiana. Super excited about that. I think that'll be a lot of fun too.
That's the one with all the bats, Vinny.
I could deal with them.
Lots of bats.
We'll see. But a lot of negative energy is supposed to be there, stuff like that, and I kind of get drawn into that because I'm thinking I'm going to see something. So with that is all time we had tonight. We didn't get to have a guest tonight, but we're back. We got everything rolling now. We're back every Sunday. Kind of had a couple weeks off there, getting some stuff lined out. Definitely every Sunday, good conversations. Really want people to call in, talk to us. If you got experiences, share them. If you think that we're full of shit about something, let's call and have a conversation. We are definitely okay with it, 100%.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well,
and then follow us, guys. So we just got set up and stuff like that, too. We'll have some stuff on Instagram. We'll have stuff on Twitch. We stream on Twitch now. Of course, our YouTube channel, Facebook channel. It goes on all of them. So whichever you prefer, it's all going to be on there every week. And like I said, we'll have guests, new content, new videos and stuff like that. And then we go on investigations. Of course, we have that info on there. Plan on hitting Casey Cemetery and Pilot Knob Cemetery in the next couple weeks. So
we've got a home visit we're going to do in Smiths Grove. We're going to do in August for sure. I got a confirmation on that earlier today. And then there's another case in Litchfield that we're still talking to the client on that. And we did have another case. I'm not going to mention names, but it was a very, very active, interesting case. And I want to say thank you to Bishop Long and Sister Catherine that came out and helped with that case, helped give the client some closure. And if you're dealing with something and you think it's demonic, or you have an attachment or something, you're being attacked, and we're not opposed to bringing in the big guns. If it's something that we feel needs help, we'll bring in a deliverance minister or a priest or a different group that deals with that kind of stuff. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to them because they did help us with they did show up last week and help us with some closure on that case. And he does do a prayer study a couple times a week. He does a paranormal show once a week. Bishop Long out of Louisville. He's with the old Catholic Church. He's not with the Roman Catholic Church. He's with the old Catholic Church. And I just want to give a shout out to him and the another gentleman, Bruce, who's a local here. He's more of a deliverance minister. He also was very helpful with that case and instrumental. And we couldn't have helped her without their help. So appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody tuning in. So we'll see y'all next Sunday. Come on.